What's up, everybody? I'm Sly The Movie Guy, and here's my movie review of Spider-Man 3. I already covered the first two films on the channel. You can click on the playlist of Spider-Man film reviews, or you can click on the reviews on the links down in the description box down below, whatever way works for you. And this film stars Tobey Maguire, Kirsten Dunst, Topher Grace, Thomas Haden Church, J.K. Simmons, Rosemary Harris, Bryce Dallas Howard, James Franco, and pretty much the other cast and crew. And this film came out in 2007. And I remember the year 2007. I was so pumped when when the full trailer came out. I was like blown away. I couldn't believe how good it was. I couldn't wait because Spider-Man was going to wear the black suit. Sandman was in it, one of my favorite Spider-Man villains. Then Venom, they showed Venom, so I was a little excited to see how this is going to turn because I love Spider-Man 2. It was a total blast film that came out in 2004, and I couldn't wait for Spider-Man 3. And going to the movie theater, I left out kind of like I liked it, but not as quite as like Spider-Man 2. And I was questioning myself, like, was something wrong with it? Because when you leave out the movie, you're questioning on, did something happen? Did something happen that's like the same excitement that you have for the last film? And that can happen because some films have done that in previous past that had great sequels, but then the third installments wasn't that hype. And that's what Spider-Man 3 felt like. And rewatching the film, I rewatched it during like my middle school years and then watched it as an adult, and I watched it for the review. My thoughts on it now, it's not bad. It's okay film. I wouldn't say it's the worst comic movie that people make it out to be. I've seen a lot of videos, like a lot of people saying that this is the worst comic movie of all time and stuff. And I don't agree with it, but hey, if everybody has an opinion. But for me, I don't find it like the worst comic movie. It's not Batman and Robin. It's not Catwoman. Superman Quest for Peace. Steel. Ghost Rider. Spirit of Vengeance. Those films, Superman Quest for Peace, those films are absolutely horrible. They're absolutely worse than Spider-Man 3. If you don't think so, watch these films, you'll see my point. But the Spider-Man 3 looks like Dark Knight or Avengers compared to those films. And Spider-Man 3, like I said, is not a bad film. Let me go in depth on why I feel like it's not as bad as people make it out to be. Of course, there will be spoilers. So the things with Spider-Man 3 is the dumb moments that really bugs me. And there's two of them. And usually in superhero movies, we always have where stupid moments happens in every superhero movie. We see it now that like, oh, that was bad, that was dumb and stupid. But some films can redeem from that because there's so much positive than the negatives. Spider-Man 3 had like two of them that really kind of head scratch that just doesn't make any sense. And it's where Sandman leaves for like running away from the policemen and stuff. He's getting chased by them. He falls into the sand in some type of silicone mask thing or whatever like that. And the scientists or whatever say, well, something's in a silicone mask, and they say it's a bird, it'll fly away. A bird? Really? Usually, you would have cameras to see what's inside. So they have so they didn't have like cameras to see if that was like a human or a bird in there. Because if they had a camera, they could at least got the human out. But a bird would flew out of there instantly. So this type of thing, why they even turn it on? I don't know. Then Harry Butler shows up closer to the end of the film to say, "May, sir, I see things in this house that was unspoken of. The day your father died, I cleaned his wounds." What are you trying to tell me? "The blade that pierced his body came from his glider." I don't get it. It's so stupid. Why he didn't tell Harry all this before all the mess that Harry went throughout the whole film? Why he just didn't tell him that? He could avoid all that. And his face got messed up in the middle of the film. So all this could have been really fixed very quickly. No, we had to wait to the third act of the film. And there's bloopers of where the actor couldn't get the lines right. So that's telling you something that that shouldn't even been part of the movie at all. So if you have the DVD, look at the bloopers. If you don't have DVD, I'd say get DVD and look, or it's on YouTube. Look at the bloopers right now on YouTube. I'm pretty sure it's still there. It's just one of those dumb moments. Let's get down to the concrete things that really hurts this film. Out the storyline, basically the first two films absolutely had great pacing in both of them, especially the first one. The first one knew how to balance certain characters out, flesh our characters out in the first movie, but give us the balance of that with the action. The second movie fleshed our characters out, even though it has action there, but at least it felt like a film and we get to learn more of our characters. This movie has too many characters, and we've seen films where they've done multiple characters in films like Civil War and Infinity War. But the difference with those, we had a build-up with these films. So this is one film, and we already have characters we already built up. So why we had to add more characters in this film, and when we added more characters in this film, it's hard to kind of juggle these things around. It's kind of hard to juggle like one character to the next, because Spider-Man 3 has too many storylines, and some of them get sidelined, and the other ones just like comes up, and you're like wondering which one should we follow. For examples of multiple storylines I'm talking about in this movie, pretty much Peter Parker and Mary Jane, is like their relationship is good, but things end up turning things like upside down when Peter Parker ends up getting the black suit. Him and Mary Jane are not getting along. They're having relationship problems, and Harry Osborn becomes the new Green Goblin, and he ends up losing his memory, and he all of a sudden, and him and Peter Parker and Mary Jane and Harry Osborn's in a love triangle. So that's 2 or 3 stories going on, and Mary Jane gets fired from her Broadway play as an actress. She gets fired from Broadway. So that's like 4 stories, and then Gwen Stacy's in the mix, played by Bryce Dallas Howard. So that's another thing, and that's another love triangle going on, because now that's like another love interest of Peter. It's just too much. And then Sandman is the criminal and try to save his daughter because his daughter is sick. And spoiler, he's the Uncle Ben's killer. So that guy in the first Spider-Man movie is not even the killer Uncle Ben. It's Sandman. That's 2 stories going on. So that's like 5 or 6 stories going on at once. Then we have Eddie Brock, that's the new photographer of the Daily Bugle, and he becomes Venom in 5 minutes of the movie, which I will elaborate on. And there's so much in the story of Spider-Man and all. It's too much, and it's hard to juggle all those things. Now, it could have worked. Let's just say this. Let's say all that stuff could have worked. Because we see movies with all different storylines can work. And this movie just couldn't accomplish that. It's just so much. And some of it had to do with Sony interference. Because there's some stuff that Sam Raimi, as director, because this is his 3rd time directing this film, he did clearly want certain things in this film off. And I'll go in depth on that. Let's just talk about the characters in this film and all that. And the writing, too, because I'm going to elaborate the writing. Okay, starting with our main character, Peter Parker, Spider-Man, played by Tobey Maguire. Now, I know a lot of people flack Tobey Maguire for the first 2 films. I thought he did phenomenal in the first 2 films. And quite frankly, I will say his performance is not bad here. It comes from the writing. The writing absolutely makes really make these actors look stupid. And some parts in Tobey Maguire's stuff is really the writing, because you can't blame the actor for doing certain things, especially the dancing numbers, which clearly I don't know why that was in Spider-Man 3. That was the lowest point in Spider-Man 3. Tobey Maguire and all that, and the symbiote and all, making him do that. It's just kind of stupid and all, in all honesty. But as a film, I can see it being entertaining. In a comic film, it had no place being there. And I found myself laughing at it. It's really laughable. And I guess the symbiote actually gives him like these eyelashes that look like something from Twilight, and his hair is down and stuff. And it's just like, what kind of Spider-Man, are we watching a Spider-Man film or a totally different film? It just didn't really feel like a Spider-Man film with that, and it just don't make sense. And Tobey Maguire's acting wasn't that bad on some parts in the film. I say when he gets the black suit and stuff like that, and when the negative vibe and he sees it, his acting is not that bad here. So I don't really see like the problem with Tobey Maguire. I say it's the writing on his character. Now we get on with Mary Jane. Now, Mary Jane here, she was fine in the first two films, but here it's just she acted so much of a jerk. And one of the things is when she gets fired on Broadway and stuff, and Peter trying to help her out and stuff and all that, because I know she's going through a lot, but she should understand what Peter's talking about. Because Peter was talking about in one of the scenes saying that Spider-Man goes through a lot of this and all that. And she ranged on Peter and said, don't give me this, get back on a horse ride and all this. But he was just trying to help. So she acted kind of like a jerk and stuff, which I can see people act like that, but they should understand though. Because sometimes when I get upset with stuff, my mom and dad tells me stuff. So, and I would kind of like see what they're talking about. She didn't see anything what Peter was talking about, and she just flat gets mad. That was one of the things. Now Harry Osborn / the new Green Goblin. I didn't think James Franco did a bad job in this film. I actually think he does fine here. It just, like I said, the writing of his character, the way they wrote him, it just, you didn't feel like his character was like much in depth of the film. And pretty much, I wish they had made him the main villain, because if you've seen the first two films, you actually had a villain and stuff like right here. And it just don't make sense why the film just completely changed it around. Because the film, like I said, he fights Peter and all this. He's the new Green Goblin. And then as Spider-Man, him and Peter Parker battles, he ends up losing his memory. So it just, they didn't do right with his character at all and stuff like that. And pretty much the first two films, like I said, the first movie he was jealous of Peter because Norman Osborn respected Peter because Peter was very smart. He was a scientist and stuff, and Norman Osborn was a scientist. So those things was like a father and son thing, and Harry was jealous about that. The second movie, Harry was wanting revenge on Spider-Man because he thinks Spider-Man killed his father and all that, and he ends up finding out the Green Goblin lair when Norman Osborn through the mirror say, "Avenge me," and Harry busts out the mirror and stuff and see all the Green Goblin stuff. So all those first two films build up the villain, and we kind of gotten that, but not quite. It just didn't make it the main focus, and I wish that was the main, was like one of the main storylines of the film, and it just was so much sidelined with the other stuff with characters. For example, like Sandman and Venom. Sandman, Thomas Haden Church, Sandman, I think he does fine. I think Thomas Haden Church is a great actor. I thought he did great as Sandman. Like I said, it's the story arc of him being the killer of Uncle Ben. I just didn't need. It felt like to me the Batman 89 and Daredevil 2003. What I mean is, if you've seen 89 Batman, and this is a spoiler, 89 Batman, Joker was that killed Batman's parents. And right in that film. Daredevil, we had Kingpin, where he kills Daredevil's father. So it's almost like it's almost like we've seen this before, and Spider-Man 3 does that again. It's like, I don't need a villain kind of tied to our heroes again. That just, to me, I didn't need that again. It just felt like, I don't want to call it lazy writing, but it's just like, okay, yes, we got to make the villain be like, how to make the villain connect to our hero. We had to put those two things in. It just was too much. I didn't need it. Just let the guy, like I said, from the first movie, Uncle Ben's killer, fine. I could take the Sandman trying to save his daughter and stuff and try to steal money, but don't have, but because it was like, because like Doc Ock tried to get money to make that machine, fine. I'll take that. It just, when you added that Uncle Ben killer thing, it just went too much. Now we get to Venom. Topher Grace as Eddie Brock / Venom. I mean, you could have picked a different actor for all I'm concerned. I know that's probably like the biggest fault, saying Topher Grace shouldn't have been cast in it. Fair argument. Topher Grace shouldn't have been cast as Eddie Brock / Venom. But if you really look at the writing here, you could have put any actor in here. Maybe they could have accomplished it. But the writing of this film was so jumbled around that any good actor that could have put Eddie Brock in Venom, it still wouldn't have made the movie better. Maybe for like the fans, maybe like, oh, this actor was in it, probably done well. But the writing was so over the place that I don't think any actor would have made a film better. And plus, I'll say this. Sam Raimi, technically, in this film, didn't want Venom here. He did not want Venom here. Sony wanted Venom so badly because, like I said, the first two films made a crap load of money, box office, worldwide grossing, and that they wanted Venom in this film. And Sam Raimi had no intention of putting Venom here because he didn't know much of the character. So that makes it hard for your director that he didn't want the character in it, and he had to force the character here because he didn't know the character at all. So it was kind of hard for Sam Raimi, and I could probably tell from, putting Venom in this film and the way Venom is utilized here, you didn't have to put Venom here. Venom had no purpose of being in this movie. Maybe because the symbiote storyline, which is fine. I'm glad the symbiote storyline of Peter Parker turning the black suit as Spider-Man was there, but you could have said that other part in part 4. And technically, the writers wanted this film to be 2 parts. And I totally agree. And Sam Raimi was one of them, too, that wanted this film to be 2 parts. And if I'm not mistaken, Sam Raimi was the screenplay this film. So I can tell that Venom should have been in part 2 because that would have been a lot better because cramming him here, it was just too much. Now let's get on to Gwen Stacy, played by Bryce Dallas Howard. I felt like this character had no business being here at all. It was really it had no purpose being here. And the only 2 things I could say it only was in this film was she raised her hand. She kind of like had this type of liking of Peter Parker or something. She's just a student in college class with Peter Parker, and then she gets saved from Spider-Man, and later on she is Spider-Man there with the key to the city, promoting Spider-Man because what he did and saved people. He does the upside down kiss, which that was the only part in this movie. Pretty much she was just like another damsel in distress, and this Gwen Stacy was not even right from the comic book term. So this movie just made another love interest that has no being in this movie. Lastly, the one things in Spider-Man 3 I wish they did not put in this movie is have Mary Jane captured again. Like I said in my last review, fine. This time, I can see why she got captured again, the way they ended that film off. But here, it was already done in the first 2 films. The third try, it just was too much. I didn't need to see that again, Mary Jane's getting captured. It just, one of the things in Spider-Man 3, is one of the things I just like. Mary Jane did not have to get captured again. It just was one of the things I just did not need. It was really, and that plays with Kirsten Dunst at Mary Jane. Dang, I just did not need that in this film. It was already done in the first 2 films. I didn't need to see it again. Now, let me say this. Now, I've said all the negative things about Spider-Man 3. Like I said in the beginning of the video, this is not like a bad comic book movie. It's not, like I said, like the other comic movies like Ghost Rider, Batman and Robin, Catwoman. It's not like that. Definitely not Elektra or Fantastic Four 2015. Spider-Man 3 actually has some good things in this film. And let me get those things out. Now, you might agree and disagree. Like I said, they're just opinions. They're me giving my thoughts about the film. Here's one of the things I think that really makes Spider-Man 3 not that bad of a film. The action scenes. Pretty much the first 2 films did great with the action scenes in the first 2 films. I really say the first one and the second one knew how to make good action scenes really work, especially with the final showdown with the Green Goblin and the train scene with Doc Ock and Spider-Man fighting. Those were absolutely great scenes with the other scenes that we have seen in action scenes in the first 2 films. Spider-Man 3 have great action scenes, especially with Spider-Man saves Gwen Stacy, with the building falling apart and stuff, saving her falling down the sky. Then the bare knuckle fight scene with Harry Osborn and Peter, that was absolutely great. J.K. Simmons is great as Jameson. I forgot to say in his review, he's absolutely fantastic as Jameson once again for the third time in the film. He was very funny. J.K. Simmons is just phenomenal at Jameson. Any Spider-Man film that they do in the future, please just cast J.K. Simmons as Jameson. He's just perfect. I like the fight scene with the Sandman and Spider-Man in the subway scene. It was absolutely fantastic. It was really freaking phenomenal. I thought the action really worked well. And I like how Spider-Man fight his villains in great action scenes. So that was really done well. And other things, I like what Rosemary Harris as Aunt May. She does fantastic, tells Peter things. She does great for the third try in the film and stuff. So some of the characters that was in the first two films actually does great here again. So I really can say that the act is not bad on in here. And I like the third cameo, Bruce Campbell, as a man in a French restaurant. He did great as the boxing announcer, the wrestling announcer in the first movie, and the second movie as the usher. Fantastic. And here he does great as the man in the restaurant. So I just think Bruce Campbell is just gold in the Spider-Man films. And if you haven't noticed, him and Sam Raimi collaborate with each other as director and actor in the Evil Dead series. So I like that. So this is clearly a Sam Raimi film. So I like Bruce Campbell's third cameo. He does great. He was funny. Those things worked here. And rest in peace, Stan Lee, where he meets Peter Parker at the Times Square and say, I think one person can make a difference. I like that cameo. Stan Lee did good with the third cameo. It was absolutely fantastic. Man, I miss the guy. So all the things in this Spider-Man movie really works, especially where he's ripping off the symbiote suit in the church and stuff when all that negative vibe after the jazz thing and all that, when he hits Mary Jane and the symbiote thing, that actually worked. That reminded me of the 90s cartoon Spider-Man where he's taking the symbiote off. Absolutely fantastic. It was a powerful scene. I really liked it. And another scene, Harry Osborn and saves Peter Parker when Sandman was about to kill him, and Venom was trying to kill Spider-Man, and Harry Osborn came for the rescue, and they team up. So those things work. And this is one of the things I think that makes Spider-Man 3 not a bad film. And I forgot to say this, the music score of Christopher Young, since Danny Elfman didn't come back, it was perfect. With the Sandman theme song, and when Sandman comes up here, I like how that sounds. And I like the symbiotes, the theme song with the symbiote and all that with the Venom thing. It was absolutely great. I like that. And those are one of the things I say that really makes Spider-Man 3 not a really bad film. So that's the things I really think I thought as I rewatched it. Those things really worked in Spider-Man 3. Overall, those are my thoughts about Spider-Man 3. Look, I didn't hate this movie. Does it have issues? Yes. But there's some positive stuff in this movie that makes this movie not as bad as people make it out to be. And that's pretty much it. I'm going to give Spider-Man 3 a C-. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think about Spider-Man 3. Did you like it or not? Let me know. Like I said, the movie has positives and some of it has negative to it. So I'll let know your thoughts about Spider-Man 3. And let me know what kind of storyline you would have done with Spider-Man 3. What would have been better than what film we got. I'll love to know that too. And stay tuned to my Spider-Man film series leading up to Spider-Man Far From Home with the next review of The Amazing Spider-Man. So look out for that. And that's pretty much it. Anyways, guys, if you like this video, click thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, click subscribe and the bell button. That's so I can see you next time on Sly the Movie Guy. Peace.